Yolan True and welcome to another exciting day in our galaxy. And today I want to talk about how to recruit Augment officers. But before I get into that, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, but do like my videos, then I suggest that you do that and also click this little bell so that you get the notifications when new videos are coming out. But let's talk about Augment officers. You know, that's the ones after you get the Botany Bay on level 18 and then the Augment faction store. And that's where we have to go now. And to do this, we look at the top left of the screen. There's ships, officers, command, and then factions. And that's what we click. And in that list, depending on your level, you see more or less what I have here. But the fourth one is Augment. And we click that, then we are in the Augment faction store. You see on the top that you also have to gain reputation with them. Mine is maxed, so I can see everything you can get here. But there will be something in there that's called Augment Recruit. And because mine is maxed, it's Augment Recruit 6 and Awoken Augment Recruit 3. And that makes a difference because there are different officers in this. But let's look at Augment Recruit. So the normal Augment Recruit, and on my level it's 6, but that's about the numbers and stuff. I have uncommon officers in here, I have rare officers in here, and I have the one epic Augment officer here, that's Khan Noonien Singh, the version from Star Trek Into Darkness though, not Ricardo Montalban from the original series. And all these officers are quite helpful, even for the Botany Bay, but also for station, for base raids. And so it's not too bad to have them. And let's have a quick look at the officers like I did when I did this with the other faction recruit stuff. Kati brings critical hit chances against defense platforms. So here we are at base raids, and critical hit damage in station combat, depending how you use her. Otto brings 20% damage to defense platforms and 50% attack to every officer on the bridge of the ship. And Joaquin is helping with the Botany Bay and mining data because he increases the ship's protected cargo by 50% and 100% to corrupted and decoded data mining speed. So with Joaquin on the bridge, you can mine much faster and you can protect more of the data you mined. Marla brings 20% to the ship's repair speed, that saves some speed ups, and 80% to the ship's captain stats. So if you have another captain, she will help increase the stats there. Joachim has a 50% chance to drastically increase the ship's mitigation against a station for 1 round, and minus 25% to all opponent ships and defense platforms damage in station combat. So you see there are a lot of officers for base raids, and they are quite handy for incursions. And then we have Khan. He brings 50% chances to drastically reduce the opponent's station and ship's mitigation for 2 rounds, and 3% to critical hit chances every time the ship gets hit. It's 3% because of the level I have. Those green percentages do change when you level up the officers. And I use Khan a lot because of this critical chances thing. When you don't have, let's say, some supreme crews, then Khan is a really big help, even in the freebooter hunt. You've seen my videos on the first freebooter crews that you can have, and where Khan and Gorkin play a role. And so Khan is a very important officer, and he's an epic officer you can have very early in this game by events and by doing this. And later I'll show you a little bit more where you can get Augment officers. But we still have the other chest, and that's the Awoken Augment recruits. And there we have Navi, Pan, and Rima, all rare officers. And Navi brings 20% to critical hit damage when the ship has a hull breach, and 85% to armor, shield deflection, and dodge when the ship has a hull breach. Pan is a very fun guy. Before Riker, and because he's one of the first officers of this kind you will have, he's a really great guy for a realtor in takeovers and territory takeovers, because you can annoy much bigger players a lot with that. If you have a realtor with Pan as captain, because he increases the impulse speed by 20%, and so that can be really fun. But he also has a 45% chance to apply a hull breach on your own ship for 3 rounds. That is not very funny. So I really only used him on the realtor because I don't want to damage my own ship when I really want to fight with it. And then we have Rima. He brings 40% damage when the ship has a hull breach and 10% to critical hit chances when the ship has a hull breach. So they are all depending on a hull breach here. Those are the 2 ways to recruit those Augment officers, and that were all Augment officers here in the Augment faction store. But there are 2 more ways. One way is in the recruit section, and for this, on the top left, instead of to factions, we go to officers. And then on the top right, we click on recruit. And if somebody is wondering why I'm always saying what I'm doing, I know that a lot of people are watching my videos that just started the game, and so I want to give them the right direction so they know how to get to all these places where I take them. And here we have mission key recruit, for example, and you see that Khan is in here. He's the only Augment officer, but you can get Khan shards here. I will not get into detail about mission key recruit now, because I will talk about mission key recruit in a video tomorrow, because there are some important points I cannot say often enough, and we'll talk about that again. There, I have to look, but I'm not so sure if there are some in the normal recruit ones, because I wanted to go somewhere else. Yeah, because I didn't see any here, but that doesn't mean, yeah, here Navi, Mala, and Rima, and Pan and Joachim are in the ultra recruit section as well. You always forget where all the people are when you have so many of them. So let's have a look if in the premium there are some of the uncommons as well. No, they don't. So you only have the rare ones in the ultra recruit section. But there is another place for Augment officers, and at the moment we are still in the Apex event, but I don't have to go to the event, but to the event store. Okay, I have to go back because I forgot to explain. On the top right of the screen you have the events. That's where the com badge is, and that's where I click. And then on the top there are season passes, events, and event store. There I click event stores. Then I scroll over behind all those Thalaron event stores we still have, and they are going a little bit longer than originally planned now. And there we have Apex Outlaw. And when we click there, we have what you can buy with the rewards from the Apex event. And I have to wait a few more days to show you that, but if you get contraband chips, then you can exchange in the heist loot contraband those ships, and you also have a chance for Augment officers, but also for rogue officers. So there are many ways to recruit Augment officers in the faction store, in the normal recruit section, and in the Apex Outlaw event store. And so there you have a good chance of getting those officers early. I always had them quite early, and so that's why they were really useful. Later on, when you get better officers, and there are always newer officers coming up, then of course they lose a bit of their importance. But right at the time when you can get them, they will play a really big role. And especially when it's about your first incursions you're taking part, when you reach level 25, you might have a good base rate crew from the Augment faction. And so those officers will play an important role in the early stages of your game as well. And if you have experiences with those officers, or have questions or requests for other videos with other topics, always just leave a comment under the video. You know that I'm reading them, and I'm always happy to see what you have to say. And even if you just want to say hi and where you're from, I'm a really curious guy, and I always like to know where from all over this planet my viewers are coming from. So I'm quite happy about that too. And if you want to see another video right now, the next one is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.